Okay. Hi, everyone. This is the Auburn School Committee meeting for April 2nd, 2025. This meeting is being conducted in person and is being recorded by the Auburn Cable Television. All are welcome to join us here in person at 5 West Street. All supporting materials that have been provided to the members of this body is available on the town's website, and the public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda. Thank you. If we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay.
The vision of the Auburn Public Schools is to educate and prepare students for the opportunities and challenges of a changing world. Our commitment: we will create, maintain, and support an environment that fosters a sense of belonging for all students in our schools, respecting race, color, sex, religion, national origin, sexual orientation, gender identity, homelessness, poverty, spoken language, and ability.
All right. Thank you, Dr. McCrillis. Move on to citizens' comments. Is there anyone here for citizens' comments? Nope, seeing none, we will move on to special recognitions.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this evening, we have a lovely group of staff here to talk about the Polar Plunge. They're all members of the committee that put together the plunge that was held on March 21st. I don't want to steal their thunder, so Allie, are you designated to come up to the podium? And maybe, yeah, there we go. Allie DeLuca from Auburn High School, and she can talk about the folks that are here with her too. So welcome.
So this is the second time we hosted a mobile plunge unit here. Allie Shagel made a great video. Maybe we should watch it first, and then you can.
Okay.
I'll give you some background. So, all proceeds for the Polar Plunge go directly to Special Olympics. And the reason that I feel like I'm so passionate about it is because Special Olympics does so many wonderful things for our students with disabilities, because it's a community that goes beyond high school. So it's all ages, and they have competitions that go just local, but also internationally. And at those international competitions, they provide health services such as fitting kids for orthotics and adults for orthotics, dental work, hearing aids, lots of different things that they have special volunteers who are doctors who work with kids with disabilities and adults. And I think that's so special because it's international and there's people all over the country and the world that don't get the services they need. And we often don't think about the kids and the adults who struggle to go to doctor's appointments. And these people are trained, and kids get and adults get what they need for the rest of their life if they can attend some of these events. And it's a community that they have for life. And I feel like we do a great job in Auburn facilitating these communities for kids with disabilities, but once they graduate or age out, it's hard to find those. So personally, it's like a goal, I think, to get kids more involved with Special Olympics now so that that is something that can follow them forever, hopefully. As a district, we've been doing this Polar Plunge mobile unit for 2 years. The high school kids have been doing it part of our Rockets to Rockets programming, and the teachers since, I think, 2017. 2020, we had a plunge still, and the fire department came and they hosed us down on the field from, I don't know if you remember that, but that was pretty cool. We had to stay, 6 feet apart, and we had hula hoops on the field, but they extended their ladders. And so we've been doing it for a while. I would say that this year's mobile plunge was definitely a huge step up from last year's. And so because we were able to make it part of our professional development day, it was overwhelmingly supported compared to last year. Not that I think last year was a failure in any sense of the word, but just having that opportunity to include more people and to have access to spread awareness about Special Olympics and the fundraising and what it does for adults and children. So I don't know if you have any questions, but you saw how many participants and how much money we raised. And it was great to have food trucks. I think getting the feedback that some of us have been getting so far, I feel like we could just continue to do better every year if it's allowed, because we already booked the mobile plunge unit. Just saying. So we have a great team. We have, people with their Polar Plunge shirts on are here, but there's others who we meet regularly, and everyone contributes. I can't really say enough about the team of people from all schools in the district. And it's really actually fun to meet, I feel like, when we do. So it's a good group of people.
Oh, that's great.
And we
Any
raised
questions?
the most amount of money, so
Yeah.
yes.
So that was it's a
that
good
was
thing.
good to hear.
Yeah. And there's obviously incentives for raising money. We did give out prizes and awards for costumes. And, Mr. DeLongchamp was gracious enough to let our high school community who raised the most money pick his costume, and Dr. LeBomb's as well. So I don't know if you saw his. He was one of the witches from Wizard. I mean, from
They were the two witches.
Wicked. One of the witches from Wicked. I don't know if you noticed that pink shirt and wand. He was.
Should we pull it up again?
Yeah, I could slow it down.
So it is bitter cold. It is, we didn't have the sunshine, warm weather that we had the whole week prior to that day. But that makes it a polar plunge, right? So
Yeah, it was cold that day.
Through the chair, how cold was the water? Do you know?
22 degrees, somebody said.
yeah, it was cold.
Oh, my word.
And a pool company donates the water, so which I think is really nice because you don't want hydrant water. It's
True, yeah.
Yeah.
it's not. So that's nice.
If I could, Madam Chair, I just want to say thank you to the whole committee, the folks that are here tonight, and everybody else that contributed to this. It was a very, kind of inclusive kind of thing, right? Everyone felt a part of it. And it takes a tremendous amount of organization and work to pull this all together, and they did that beautifully. Many of these same folks do the same thing for our school day games, which is another amazing event for the Auburn Public Schools. And I believe that we are unique mainly because of the work these folks have done and because our students have taken such part in all of this. So it was really a wonderful, wonderful event. It was a lot of fun. So thank you to
I
everyone.
also want to give a shout out to Steve Scott because he live streamed this and student volunteers who came on their day off to live stream it, and that's where we got this great footage, honestly. So that was a nice plus, I think.
Awesome.
Great. Through the chair. This is Special Olympics is like extremely close to my heart. But I think it's amazing, and I think in general, like Auburn's amazing, and the inclusivity that we have, even starting from like preschool on. I mean, these kids love unified games, and this just continues that support of Special Olympics. And they are aware, and it's just I look back to when I went to school, and the inclusion is just so much more than like. And that's why I think that's what Special Olympics has done, but I think that you guys are doing a fabulous job in just continuing that within the school day and after as well.
Thank you. I think it's super valuable to raise money, but I think it's more valuable to spread awareness and educate. So we try to use that as much as we can in promoting. I say to all of the kids, like, I don't care how much money you raise or if you raise none, but I want you to put it on your social media and give a fact about Special Olympics and why it's important or how it has meaning to you.
Yeah, and you're right. There's adults that might not have the family behind them to be able to support them, and Special Olympics does that, and just a wonderful organization. So we thank you. So
Thank you. Thank you for all you do. You've definitely taken the program and run with it over the years. Turned it into something huge.
It's been a long time, but I was given that freedom. So
Well, that's great. So if you and your friends here would come up and shake our hands, and then you can be on your merry way. So we appreciate you coming
Thank you.
tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Should we get a picture with all of them, like in the podium? Sure. Well, let's maybe, I don't know if we can all fit. Can we all fit for a picture, do you think, if we? Yep. So, yeah.
how are you? Thank you.
Thank you so much. We want to get a picture too, if we could, so stay here. Thank you, Caitlin.
Right? Yes, thank you so much.
Rachel, stay for a picture. We're gonna take a picture here. Thanks, Sally.
Nicely done. That's the charge. Thank you so much.
We're gonna take a picture, so don't go anywhere.
Nice to see you. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Of course.
Great job. We love it.
Amazing. Thank you. How's it going?
Thank you so much. Yeah.
We stand in the back.
Maybe just like that? I don't know.
We stand on the table.
Yeah, right?
You guys stand in front here.
Yeah.
The wood here.
Right in here.
The TV. Yeah,
Yeah.
stand over there.
We're still.
Actually, no, right? There's a lot of that. All right, now, perfect. That's much better. Look at me and smile. Great. Great job. Yeah.
Her knees hurt. Yeah, there was no way I wouldn't get back up.
I think I'm gonna go up to the podium for it.
That was great. All right, we'll move on to acceptance of the minutes from March 12th, 2025.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from March 12th, 2025.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. There's a vote. We don't have student reps tonight.
We do not.
For an update, so we'll move on to the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So in new business this evening, we're going to hold our public hearing for the FY26 proposed school district budget totaling $32,687,276. I am going to go up to the podium and provide a brief overview of how we arrived at the budget that we have arrived at. And then, and Madam Chair, we would need a motion for the committee to open the public hearing.
A motion to open tonight's public hearing on the FY 2026 budget.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Take it away.
Thank you. So much of what you'll all hear tonight, you've heard before. This budget has kind of come a long way. We started a lot higher than where we landed, but we feel like we're presenting the town with a responsible and respectable budget, given the parameters that the town are facing. As I do with each presentation, I begin with our mission, our vision, and our commitment, which we started our meeting with. along with the tenets of our strategic plan, which drives the decisions that we make related to the budget. So I won't read through all of that, but again, focused on teaching and learning, health, wellness, and safety, and our community partnerships. So the commitments and the priorities of the school committee related to the creation of this budget were maintaining appropriate and effective class sizes, focusing on anti-bullying initiatives, training and resources, maintaining the positions focused on the social and emotional health of our kids, obviously ensuring that our contractual obligations are met, and that our staff feel welcome and supported, and respecting the ongoing financial support that we've received from the townspeople of Auburn and town leadership. We've adjusted our staffing levels to meet the financial needs of the town. As you know, we presented a 4.3% increased budget to the town. They asked us to come in at 3.81, which we did. So it will impact our staffing for the upcoming year. There is a position at Auburn High School, a teacher who's out on leave for next year. We will not fill that position. We may have to provide some stipends to cover some sections, but we will not fill the position. There's an elementary teacher who has resigned. She was out on leave this year. We're not going to refill that position. And we have two placeholder positions for a decrease of 2 positions, one at elementary and one at middle. We have not determined what positions those will be, as we're kind of giving our enrollment some time to kind of take shape to see where we can least impact our students with the loss of those positions. We did also adjust an FY26 salary for a position at Auburn Middle School because we had an unexpected retirement, so we were able to lower that salary a bit as well. We do have to add 2 new positions, a special education teacher at Swanson Road Intermediate and a district-wide speech and language pathologist, both of these to meet the required minutes of students on IEPs. October 1st enrollment was used. As you know, our Chapter 70 money had a very small increase of 1%, which again impacts what we can use for offsets. As we do each year, special education circuit breaker was estimated at 70%. Our Medicaid reimbursement went up a little bit from $150,000 to $160,000 because of the reimbursements that we're receiving. And as you know, we've had a shelter in town, and we have received a reimbursement from DESE for that. So in this budget, there's $257,916 that's been used as an offset to offset some of the expenses associated with that, and obviously have a positive impact on the budget. Each year we level fund our grant monies because we don't know where those are going to come in. So the 240 grant, Title I, Title II, those are funded as they were for FY25. We've level funded our supplies and materials. Bus application fees are providing $120,000 as an offset. This is because we had a $25 increase to the bus fee for students who pay to ride the school bus, which provided us with an additional $20,000 in offset. We have really maximized the use of offsets this year from building rentals, Satellite and Galaxy, particularly Satellite and Galaxy, preschool, music and fine arts, athletic, and our tuition revolving accounts. We will talk about this. I did put in the budget for 74 school choice spots. We're going to talk about that a little bit later, which we receive $5,000 a student. And those offsets can only be used at middle and high because those are the only places where we accept school choice students. We received our transportation bid this year, which we had initially budgeted for a 10% increase. It came in at 9%, and Mrs. Stanek was able to negotiate it down to 8%. That was a good thing. We've anticipated a 5% increase in our special ed tuitions, which we get that number from the Office of Management and Budget at the state level. Obviously, we have to meet our contractual obligations. And oil pricing, electricity, and natural gas really is not changing for next year because we're still under contract for that. So there'll be another contract negotiated next year for the following. We continue to use our solar credits from the rooftop arrays at the middle school and high school, as well as the project in Rutland. So total projected offsets are $4,017,685.93. Just to reinforce, we have been notified that the shelter in town will be closing by August 31st. We still have some questions about enrollment due to Topograph, which is the housing development that went up off of Albert Street. Currently, we have 19 students that have enrolled. The initial proposal, when they first talked about this coming into town. They said we could get approximately 69 students. I believe there are either 4 or 5 buildings now open and 19 students. So, you could have another building goes up that really has a big impact on enrollment, but we have to wait and see as that opens. And seemingly they're opening a building about once a month. This budget also does account for 2 residential placements, which has had a significant impact on this. One who moved in August. We've used special ed stabilization this year. Next year, that had to be folded into the budget. And we have a current student who will also be outplaced to a residential placement next year. So those are the highlights. I don't know if anyone has any questions about that. At this point, I think we could transition to folks presenting their numbers. And if anyone has any questions throughout any of that, we can address that as we get to that section of the budget.
Sounds good. All right, next, we'll have Mr. Alan Keller come up, the Assistant Superintendent and Preschool Principal.
Thank you very much. I am presenting a budget for teaching, learning, and curriculum and the preschool of $1,078,846.62.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mrs. Jennifer Stanek, the Business Manager.
Madam Chair, if there are any questions.
Oh, sorry. Any questions? No. No. Any from the audience? Any questions? No. Okay, thank you.
Good evening. I am sharing the central administration budget figures, which include $618,184 for salaries and $1,330,056.35 for support costs, for a total budget of $1,948,240.35. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Right. Any questions for Mrs. Stanek? No, seeing none. Thank you. All right.
Good night.
Walton?
I'll be presenting the pupil services budget. So for salaries, we have $2,145,814.27. And for support costs, we have $1,103,683.33. For a total budget of $3,249,497. Sorry, $497.60.
Right. Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Walton? I'm seeing none. Move on to, oh boy, Mr. Custodian. I'm not going to attempt your last name. I'm sorry.
Gregoire.
Oh, Gregoire. Mr. Gregoire, the Director of Facilities.
Good afternoon, Glenn Gregoire, Director of Facilities. I am requesting $329,389.79 for maintenance.
Okay. Any questions? Seeing none. All right. Thank you. All right. Mr. Bouvier, are you the stand-in?
I am going to present on behalf of Mr. Bouvier, Director of Technology, and the technology costs are a total of $656,925, and I can answer maybe some questions.
Any questions? No. All right. Thank you. Next, we'll have Mrs. Brooke Beverly from Bryn Mawr Elementary School.
Okay. All right. So for Bryn Mawr salaries, I have $2,656,380.83. Bryn Mawr support costs, $106,145. Bryn Mawr's total budget, $2,762,525.83. Are there any questions that we can answer at this time?
I just have a quick question. So and Mr. Walton, you might be able to answer this too, but your salaries, do they not include special ed teachers? Is that included in yours? It's included in yours? Okay.
Yes.
Special ed teachers for Bryn Mawr are included in the Bryn Mawr budget.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Am I turning over to Mrs. Cheryl Carlson, Ms. Cheryl Carlson, Principal of Packagug?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I love her.
Good evening. For Packagug Elementary School, Packagug salaries is $2,337,319.33. Packagug support costs are $127,617.50. with our Packagug total budget $2,464,936.83. I might have to have our students also try to read that tomorrow.
I was gonna say, I don't envy you guys trying to say these numbers. Any questions for check? All right, thank you. I'll move on to Dr. Susan Lopez from the Swanson Road Intermediate School.
Thank you. Good evening. Swiss salaries come in at $5,052,384.93. The support costs $223,480.25, and a total budget of $5,275,865.18. Are there any questions?
Any questions for Dr. Lopez?
Thank you.
Seeing
I'd like to
none.
introduce Mr. Matthew Carlson.
All right, good evening. I'm here to present for Auburn Middle School. So for total salaries, we have $5,998,398.51. For support costs, we have $327,733. And for a total budget of $6,326,131.51. Are there any questions?
Any questions for Mr. Carlson? No?
All right, I
Seeing
present Mr. DeLongchamp.
All right, Mr. DeLongchamp, you're up.
After you, sir. After you.
Good evening. I'm here to present for Auburn High School. Auburn High School salaries, $7,467,646.97. Auburn High School support costs, $496,177 for a total budget of $7,963,823.97. Additionally, the athletics and fine arts total costs are $631,093.32.
You just repeat that one more time. I'm just.
All right, any questions for Mr. DeLongchamp?
I actually have one.
Okay.
The salary for an athletic director, does that go in the Auburn High School salary or the athletic and fine art?
It's in the athletic and fine arts.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
I think that's it. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. So just to wrap up, we present to you tonight a draft budget of $32,687,276. It reflects a $1.2 million increase over the FY25 budget of $31,487,276. Again, our offsets are totaling $4,017,685, equating to a 3.81% increase over the FY25 budget. And as always, I want to say thank you to the Auburn community, certainly to the school committee, and to everyone that was here presenting tonight. Taking care of students and running a school district is not for the faint of heart. Needs that our students have are tremendous. The staff we have are fantastic. So when you put it all together, it doesn't come cheap. And I recognize that we all recognize this is a lot of money. But I promise you that we have been thoughtful and careful in how we've done this, and that we have great respect for what the town of Auburn has provided to us, and I know will continue to provide for us. So we look forward to working together with them. And again, we welcome any questions you or anyone in the audience may have.
All right, any last minute questions or comments or anything?
Through the chair, I just have one. The total budget with the open positions that haven't been filled, that money is in there somewhere. We're not going to have to find a salary for somebody.
Meaning for the new positions, that's in there with an estimated salary. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
And so again, as I do often, I'll finish with history will judge us by the difference we make in the everyday lives of children. And I believe we make a difference, and this budget will as well. So thank you.
I agree. And thank you to everyone that put the effort in to make this happen. It's a lot of work. Mrs. Stanek, thank you very much.
So I think we can close the public hearing.
Okay.
We would need a motion for that.
All right. Can I get a motion to
I'll make a motion to close tonight's public hearing on the FY 2026 budget.
I'll second. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, it is closed.
All right, my
Thank
friends,
you.
free to go.
Thank you.
So.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
Have
Thanks
a good
for
night.
staying.
Thank you.
Good night. Have a good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night.
Bye. Have a good
Thank
night.
you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Night.
Night.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Cleared out. All right. All right, we'll move on to unfinished business.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For the last, one of the last meetings, you were given information about Gateways Academy, currently of Shrewsbury, who is seeking your approval to open Gateways Academy at the Bethel Lutheran Church here in Auburn. There was a packet given to you regarding their programming, the curriculum. We reviewed that. Folks from Gateways are here with us this evening. I didn't know if anyone had any questions regarding it, but this does require a vote of the committee for them to move forward with their school.
Okay, I'll open it up to any questions from anyone?
I loved it. I want to go. I was just like, this is like, it was so well rounded. I was like, oh, I like it.
Yeah, maybe I'll invite you guys up to the podium here if you want to. Yeah, sure. Yep. Yeah, we'd love to. All right, we'd love to hear about it. And if there are questions, then you're at the mic already. So.
I am Monica Campbell. I'm one of the co-founders of Gateways Academy, along with Cynthia Hearn, Cindy Sproul, and Stacy Varney, who has relocated to Tennessee, but she works with us remotely behind the scenes. So I'll just give you a little bit of history. These two ladies, Stacy and myself, worked together at a private school in Worcester that was closed due to the pandemic. And we honestly just weren't done working with one another. We really like each other. We respect each other. I personally admire them so much. They are the most amazing women I think that I've ever had the opportunity to work with. And they've enriched my life so much. And so we decided, after much prodding from a few parents who asked, where are you going to teach? Can my students go with you? Can you homeschool my kids? Like, no, that we can't do that. And someone made the offhanded remark, why don't you start a school? And we thought, who starts a school? So we went home on that Friday night and we thought, no way. And Monday morning we came back and said, I guess we're starting a school. And we hadn't even spoken over the weekend. We just knew it was the right thing to do. So Gateways was born out of a lot of conversations and encouragement from a friend who runs a Montessori school. And she gave us a lot of input, and she said, you just ask questions, ask a lot of questions and answer the questions that you're asked. And so we started the process. We found a location. We found a lovely church in Shrewsbury that was willing to allow us to use their space. They were not meeting. Obviously, it was, still relatively COVID times, and we had a vision for the space that they didn't quite see. And we said, well, we could do this and we can do that. And they've been very generous with the space over the 5 years. But we've grown so much. Our first year, we had 21 students. And our second year, we doubled to 42. Not quite sure how that happened, but it did. Our third year, 55. Our fourth year, 65. And right now we're up to 70. And we feel like we're literally pushing the walls of our current space. We absolutely adore the children and the families who we have. We're small enough that we know them very, very well. Some students don't like that, but that is who we are. You will not escape in our building. If you're feeling unwell or something's happening, we will definitely notice. And we've really created a community, I believe, of students who will make really good citizens and strong leaders once they leave Gateways. Any particular questions that we could answer? Do you have any questions?
No, but I agree. It was wonderful to read.
It was just a different take on it, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Come.
Yeah. You should come visit. Yes. Yeah.
Because we have parents come to, parents
that are thinking of sending their child somewhere come and they stay for a while and tour with us and talk to us, and then the kids come and shadow. So they shadow a day or two, and some kids will come, especially the high school, will say, "Oh, this is way too small. I'm not staying here. This is way too small," and that's okay. And we tell them that when they come in to shadow that day. If you don't like it, it's okay. You don't have to stay. And some kids come in and just and they just feel so good because it's not crowded and there's only 8 in your class, and all the teachers know everybody, and all the kids know us, know when our birthdays are, know what our favorite colors are, everything. They know the entire school. Our first graduate graduated 2 years ago, 2023, and went to Curry College. And we have no one graduated last year, and this year we have 3 graduating, and they all got accepted into all 5 of we made them apply to 5 places, and they got into all 3 of them. And so we're working with them, and we have a volunteer that comes in, and she works with these kids. She takes them on visits to the schools, to different schools. She helps them with their essays. She helps them with their financial aid and where can we apply. For instance, we have one boy that our kids are very low income, and we do all we can to get money for scholarships for them. And we have a young man who wants to go to Morehouse. He went with the Y on their tour of Southern schools, and he loved Morehouse, and he's trying so hard to get in. And they put him on a waiting list, and then the woman who works with them called them and said, "Can we send you more information in more of what he's talking about and wants?" And they loved it. They said, "Absolutely, absolutely." So we're all working on that with him, and we're all waiting for to see what Morehouse will do. But in the meantime, his plan B, he just got a STEM scholarship for $14,000 plus to Fitchburg State for the new STEM program that they've got going on. So he does have a plan B. But we all know about it. We all help the kids at all the grades, and that's just the way it is. But you can do that when you've only got 70 kids.
Right. Madam Chair, could I ask?
Yes. Yeah.
What will your tuition be for next year?
Yeah, sure.
So given the opportunity to move to Auburn, we've decided to keep tuition at the current rate of $6,250. So we feel that with the move, it may be a difficult transition for some of our families. Some of them live as far as Westboro. I think Uxbridge is a little bit closer maybe on this side. So given that, we've decided internally right now just to let everybody know that we will keep tuition the same. We have not started our re-enrollment process yet. We have let people know that the opportunity to move to Auburn exists, depending on, of course, your vote. So that's we've been in a little bit of a holding pattern. Additional costs that we have we have a morning before school program. Is $5 a day as needed. And then after school is $12 for one child, $18 for 2 or more children. And that's after school program, again, kind of runs separately from tuition. Beyond that, we really don't charge our families more. We don't do fundraisers. As fun as they sound, they're just not suitable for our families given their income and, their situation. So we try not to put additional stress on them. And if we choose to do something fun, we try to find activities and events that are no cost or low cost, and we really foot the bill for that. Yeah.
One of the things that we have a terrific Tuesday group, and one of the things they do is we have a cooking class too, and the cooking class will make things for the kids, and make things for the refrigerators in Worcester. The Terrific Tuesday kids go and fill the refrigerators. Not every Tuesday, but maybe one Tuesday a month, and then the next Tuesday they'll do something else. But we do a lot of community service, a lot of it.
Through the chair, what are your hours?
We open, our school day begins at 8 and ends at 2:30, but we do open the doors at 7:15 for that before school care, as well as for some before school tutoring. So for example, I tutor 4 mornings a week before school begins. And then after school, again, school ends at 2:30. After school runs until 5:30. And then we do have some tutoring opportunities after school as well.
Through the chair. Oh, I'm sorry.
Nope, go ahead.
Through the chair, where do you guys see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, probably finding a new location. Honestly, you know, our hope is growth always. We are formed as a micro school, which really means that 100 students or less. We don't intend to be larger than that. Class sizes, keeping class sizes small is really important to us as a staff and as an administration. So we'd like to maintain that number. And also, you know, for our staff, we respect the fact that people have families and we don't want them to feel overwhelmed with a lot of students in their class as well. So if Bethel is, you know, willing to allow us to stay beyond 5 years, I think our preliminary contract with them says for 5 years. We have up to 5 years. And then they will reevaluate and we will reevaluate. At some point, we would hope to have our own building. Really would like to have our own building. That's a dream, right? You know, we are a small nonprofit business, but we started with a small dream and dreams come true. I was telling one of our seniors yesterday, she's working on her capstone project, and we were talking about dreams, and I said, this is my dream. Gateways is my dream. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, no, I
That same student, well, so we have a class called Financial Literacy that's run by Cornerstone Bank, so they've partnered with us. And Cornerstone Bank has offered a scholarship of $2,500 to whoever applies. And that same student wrote her essay with me today, and she talked about opening an early childhood center sometime down the road and being inspired by 4 women who asked her to be part of the team 2 years ago when she was taking a left and she needed to take a right. And we called her in and said, we need you on our team. She was the first student that we hired in our after-school program. And she talked in her essay about being mentored by 4 women who showed her that they can dream and that this could really happen for her. It was really special, really, really something.
Awesome.
I have two logistical, well, actually one, a point of advice. If this does go through, I thought the same thing about, so Swanson Road, which is very close to Bethel.
Yes, it is.
Has 2 of our schools on it.
Okay.
Your hours help because between probably 2:45 and 3:30.
I'm thinking mornings through the chair. Drop off starts, but that's more Swanson.
More Swanson.
So yeah,
Okay.
that would be
because
fine.
Bryn Mawr is
Yeah.
more like 8:25. So actually, I double checked your hours because traffic is problematic.
I
on
see.
Swanson Road.
Okay.
So you'll want to think about even telling your families how to get there.
Sure.
And to avoid Swanson Road.
Okay.
quite frankly.
Okay. That's, yeah.
If the vote
Right.
Right.
goes.
Vine,
Okay.
Vine can back up too if they were going to go up that way. So
Yeah.
All right.
So,
Yeah, we do a map, you know, try to recommend take these roads as opposed to, you know, even currently where we are. We were getting backed up on Stanley Road, which is a short residential street. So we have them go up and around. And so yes, we would definitely prepare a map.
and how do you get new students?
That's an interesting question. Over our 5 years, we have tried to advertise. We've done social media, we've done flyers and postcards, and honestly, none of that works. What works is word of mouth. And so we do not anticipate doing anything differently than what we've done right now, which is be who we are, make a difference in our little corner of the world. Advertising is expensive. We'd rather spend our money on our children than spend it on advertising.
Thank you.
Yes.
No, think it sounds like you guys have a lot of compassion. You can tell. It sounds like a beautiful program and perfect for, kids that need that very isolated, small program. Yeah, are we ready to vote or do we have any more?
Through the chair, I just want to remind you guys that
Yes, you're abstaining.
Yep, a potential conflict of interest, I'm going to abstain.
Okay. I don't think we'll need a tiebreaker on this one. So,
Making sure you're aware.
all right, thank you. All right, well,
I'll make a motion to approve Gateways Academy as a new private school in Auburn.
I'll second.
okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yes.
I'd also like to introduce Meg Masson. So two teachers came with us. And I just have to say, we worked for $0 the first year. This teacher worked for no money. She came with us, another teacher came with us, and they've been there from the beginning. This girl, she could teach anyone. So I just wanted to let you know that she was here and that we are so happy to have her.
Yeah.
Thank
you.
No, you can't have
No. Oh, she doesn't even make a starting salary. No, you still can't have her.
Well, thank you very much. Stay in touch as things progress.
Yes.
Well,
yeah.
definitely.
Um,
We have some people to notify tonight.
Yeah,
so.
okay.
Good.
And you are free to go.
If you ever want to visit, we'd love to have
I
you.
may do that.
Yeah.
I might want to check it out, yeah.
Thank you.
I'm so excited. I almost great. You did.
Oh, they're a good bunch.
Yeah. I like
That's awesome.
Really care.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Glad they came.
Yep.
Enjoy the rest of your meeting.
Yes.
Thank
you.
Good night. Congratulations.
Yes. Best of luck.
Good night.
Everything. Yep. All right. I'll move on to annual town meeting warrant articles.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So if you recall, at one of the last meetings when we approved the budget and the warrant articles, there was a warrant article for us to use $75,000 out of Bryn Mawr building rehab from the FY25 school year toward the new math program. This was done on advice of town leadership, feeling that because some of that money was going to come from, some of the work was going to be done with some other money that the kitchen is doing, and so thought that money would be available. Well, upon further review, the town found out that we can't do that because you can't take building rehab funds for that purpose that have already been kind of set for that. And so we were left scrambling for $75,000 to try and figure out how we could still continue to bring iReady forward for next school year. So after multiple options of looking at things, I asked Alan to call our iReady rep and say, okay, if we have to cut something, can we cut $75,000 worth of stuff so that we can still have this program? And after they, I think, went around with a number of options, he said, what I can offer you is that you could pay the $75,000 in the FY27 budget year. So not this coming budget year, but the beginning of the following, so that we can still get all of the programming. We don't have to cut any of the materials. He's allowing us to defer the payment to them. So when we get to the FY27 budget, we'll have to build in the $75,000, but it doesn't put an additional load on the FY26 budget, which I thought was like the perfect solution, honestly. So we have to provide them with some reassurance when we file the purchase order, saying that we will indeed pay the $75,000 in July 1st of 26, right? So that would be the start of the 27 school year. So we will do that, but wanted to let you know that it was thankfully, I didn't know what I said to him. I'm like, do we not do one, kindergarten, or how can you do that, But either way, somebody was going to lose, but as it turned out, he was very helpful and we can continue as planned.
Great.
So the remaining funding that is being used out of CIP funding can be utilized for the math program, which is about it's about $325,000. But the reason that can be used is that it's not being borrowed. It was designated to be used out of tax levy or their stabilization account. So there are all these regulations, right? You can use this, but you can't use that. And so because that money was designated as tax levy or stabilization, we're not going to run into the same problem we ran into with the $75,000. So we should be good to go.
That's a relief after all the work, you know, you and the staff and everyone that was involved put in. It's a shame to see it all be on the brink of falling apart. So.
And we had been talking about it since early August, so I was somewhat surprised that we then ran into a wall at the 19th hour. But anyway, it all worked out.
So does the committee vote on that? I would think such a huge, I don't know.
What will happen is I will bring forward the next meeting. We'll just have to re-vote the CIP that we had already re-voted. We'll just
But
have to
because
go
of
back
when
to
this
the
happened,
amount.
it couldn't get into this
I
meeting.
couldn't get it in.
Okay,
because
no problem.
Yes.
That's fine. Yeah, that's
We
fine.
will then revote the CIP funding.
Okay. And then upon the FY27 budget, when we have to build in the 75,000, you'll also be voting on that.
Okay.
When that happens.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it took a little for all of us to figure all that out too, so.
Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of a whirlwind, but all right. Well, crisis averted, I guess.
Yes.
Any questions or comments on that? No, ready to move on?
Ready.
Move on to school choice.
Okay, so earlier this year, the committee voted to continue school choice at the middle school and high school. In your packet, you have a sheet kind of showing enrollment and my recommendation that we accept 5 new students at the middle school and 8 at Auburn High School. You'll see in the column in yellow on the sheet there, we, as part of school choice, if any of our current school choice students have siblings, those students have to be accepted. And so you'll see in the column to the left of the yellow column, we do have a number of siblings coming in. So those 5 that are being accepted into Auburn Middle School are siblings of current school choice students. We typically take the largest amount of school choice students in grade 9 because that's when we lose a large number of students to Bay Path. So that's a place where we can typically put some students in. And so this total number of 13 at the bottom would bring us to a total of 74. So that would be 13 new students added to the 61 that are still enrolled with us. So that's 74 students. And this current year we had 75. So it's really kind of maintaining a status quo, which I think is important given to the unknowns around enrollment. This number seems like a number that we have pretty easily managed, even with the ups and downs of the shelter and everything else. So my recommendation would be we stay just about right there, and I think we'll be okay for enrollment.
Through the chair, we don't have to provide transportation if they school choice.
No, we do not.
Okay.
No, we do not. And in the last couple of years, so some time ago, they were allowed to go to, if they paid the bus fee, they could go to a bus stop and get on a bus. But now our ridership has gone up. And so it clearly says on the school choice application that they are not provided transportation. So they no longer ride.
Okay. Good to know.
All right, any other questions? No? I think it's, well, we always have, we have to do a lottery because there's so many people interested. And that's a testament to how great our staff is in our schools, so.
Agreed.
Yeah. All right, entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the number of new school choice students as recommended by the superintendent.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And finally, just a point of information. So for a long time, on the Thanksgiving Day, we have played Leicester. And Leicester has selected to take on David Prouty as their opponent on Thanksgiving Day. And so we've done a little bit of work behind the scenes, and we will now be playing Grafton. This year it will be away, with obviously next year they'll be here in Auburn. But seemingly we'll be starting a new tradition. And by all accounts, everyone is happy. Leicester is happy with their move. And competitively, I think Grafton may be a better match for Auburn, even a little bit tougher, but that makes it a good game. So I did confirm all of that with the Grafton superintendent as well as Leicester. So I just wanted to kind of put the information out there. We'll get it out to the larger community soon as well.
Okay. All right. Any questions? No? Okay, we'll move on to the teaching and learning report. Mr. Kettler.
Thank you. So just a very quick update. We had our last full day professional development day on April 2nd. Not on April 2nd. Today's April 2nd. On March 21st, you heard earlier from the Polar Plunge group and the Unified Games group. that was that we did at the tail end of that. And I just want to say I pulled together a professional development committee last year, and one of the things that that committee talked about was the desire to have district-wide events. And so I didn't say it when they were here, and I should have, but that was a really nice moment to cap off the professional development that we had in the day. It was heard unanimously in the survey how good it felt to have everybody together, cheering on one another, and because we were all at the middle school on that particular day. So I also want to recognize Mr. Carlson and Ms. Clough for all of their efforts, putting us all in different classrooms and spaces at the middle school, and it worked quite well, with the exception of parking, which was a little bit of a challenge, but
a little tough. We made it work.
So just very quickly, I want to touch on some of the highlights that day. So so it would have been terrible if we weren't able to go with iReady, because we started with some professional development with iReady on that day. And you'll see some of the comments that were made in regards to the professional development they received. But we had 3 groups. We had a K-1 group, a 2 to 5 group, and a 6 to 8 group. We also, you've heard me talk a lot about the work that we've done at the elementary level, K through 5, and empowering writers, and we're bringing empowering writers to our middle school next year. And so we had a 4-hour session with our science, social studies, and English teachers on launching literacy and talking about writing and building writing skills in their classrooms. Counselors from different levels were doing a variety of things, Handle with Care at the elementary level, talking about career day and also transition planning. Our wellness, music, and art groups, although I forgot to put art on there, my apologies, but they did vertical planning and scope and sequence. And then the entire high school staff met and talked about AI, not Al. And you'll see some of the feedback that was
on my Snapchat. Took me a minute.
Al.
Took me a minute to be like, that's not Al.
And so they had a speaker come in from Babson College and talk to them about AI. And, there's a lot of fear and negativity from some people around use of AI, and she presented a lot of the positive sides and ways that we can use AI and not just push back against this and say it's an evil thing. So just a couple things to show here. You have it in front of you. It's a little bit easier to see than on the screen, but I asked the question, did your PD session that you attended meet your expectations? And 92.2% of staff said yes, it did. And then the grid next to it or down below it, people rated the quality of the presentation, a 1 meaning it did not meet expectations, and a 5 meaning it exceeded expectations. And so people were rated on that scale of a 1 through 5. And so pretty consistently, it either met or exceeded expectations. The next graph on here talks about skills and knowledge. So similar, same thing, exceeded expectations, did not meet expectations. And so, I would love to get to a point where everybody says things are amazing and wonderful. I also recognize over the years that that's not quite possible. So we're always going to have some people who feel as though it didn't quite meet their needs. But I feel pretty confident in looking at those numbers that by far the majority of people were meeting and exceeding expectations. And that was definitely an area of growth that we've had. So just a couple of comments and some pictures on here. I won't read everything, all the different quotes on here. And, I'm presenting at school committee, so I want you to read the good things. But I will say that 97%, I would say, of the comments that were in here were all positive. Like the biggest complaints were about parking, about seating, because one of the groups was in the cafeteria at the middle school, and so they were there for 4 hours, and that's not exactly comfortable. So things like that, but I really didn't cherry pick these comments. That was incredibly positive about the teaching and learning that took place, and some of the best comments I've ever seen. So, presenters, we had 3 different presenters from iReady. We had a presenter from Empowering Writers, and people raved about the quality of the presentation and the materials that was shared with them and what they were able to walk away with. People talked about, there's a comment here that I thought was, and actually this goes back to the Thursday. So we had the half day prior to the Friday, and we had one of the presenters, and this is the pictures that are on the screen right here, come and do a model lesson at Bryn Mawr with 2nd grade teachers and students, and then a model lesson at Packagug with 2nd grade students and teachers. And the comment here was the model lesson, the discussion that they had afterwards with the trainer was incredibly helpful. And they learned a lot about connecting teaching and reading. And so I wanted to mention that as well. And then, like I said, oftentimes when you work with a publisher, you kind of take their presentations with a grain of salt because they're selling their product. We had, and that's consistent with what we heard and when we did our research, is iReady's people, their professional development, their support is outstanding. And we saw that on Friday with the first of a lot of professional development that we'll continue into the summer and into next school year. But really positive things. And there's comments here about AI. And using that in education, and staff then had an opportunity to take what they learned in that presentation and work together and think about how they can incorporate AI in their classroom. So I want to share with that because that's our last full day professional development day of the year, and from by all accounts, it was a really positive afternoon. And a couple things here: most impact PD all year, really good PD presentation was great. Speaker was even better. So I appreciate the opportunity to share.
All right, thank you very much. You'll never make everyone happy. So,
Try, but
I'm always
yeah.
very interested in what the people would like, what the lower levels would want, because when you go to PDs, you're like, that was great. And you walk out and then you have people like, that was awful. And you're like, but why? So I always want to know, I'd love to put in there if you rated it like a 2 or 1, like what could have been better? Because I'm so interested in hearing that, because you will always have some people that are never happy. They're like, I won't use this. Okay, well, but was it still a good PD?
Yeah.
So that always fascinates me, like what the 1s and 2s are thinking, like what did you want?
Yeah. And I think, digging into some of the 1s and 2s, it was a lot of time sitting and listening, not enough time to work with my teaching partner, things like that, which I get. I totally, and I think that we've tried to make sure that we incorporate both delivery as well as digging into some of the stuff. But, yeah, but I agree with you.
Yeah, thank you. I just find that best.
Yeah, and if I can just say, I want to thank Alan too for the coordination to get this all together and the work that he's done to bring the program with the PD committee and with the iReady committee and working with the principals. It's a huge task to pull this all together, and then to get that much positive feedback, I think is a really great testament to how the day went. So just a thank you.
thank you very much. Yeah, it's a lot of work. It's like planning a wedding every day.
Yes.
Well, there's a lot of people pitching in, so it's not just me, but thank you.
All right. Well, thank you very much for that. We'll move on to you, Mrs. Stanek, for business and financial report.
Yes, I've provided you a year-to-date budget report for the FY25 school year dated March 27th, 2025 for your review, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Mrs. Stanek? Seeing none?
And then I have provided a list of budget transfers dated March 27th, 2025 between the same series and between different series for which I am seeking your approval.
Okay, if there are no questions,
I'll make a motion to approve the list of transfers dated March 27th, 2025 as presented by the business manager.
I'll second.
okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's a vote. All right. Thank you. And we do not need executive session tonight.
Not?
So can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn. Sorry.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Aye. It's a vote. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you.